Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to a game called Our Life. Let's just get right into it, shall we? Wanna hang out on the hill tonight? Something inside told you that this was the right kind of night to take a trip out there. You sent him back a very quick message. Yeah. Smiley face. You went over to the front door and, stepping over the threshold, you gave the living room one last glance over your shoulder. Then you shut the door behind you. Silently, you made your way over to the poppy hill. With the lights in the dark, you walked across the hill behind your house. Up ahead on the very top, silhouetted beneath the night sky, was an unfamiliar figure already waiting there. Smiling, you wondered just how he always got there first. You even had the advantage of living closer. Then again, maybe it was only in your mind, but somehow Cove was intrinsically linked with this place. After all these years, it would be weird to scan this horizon and not find him there, as surreal as the shore without the sea. The distance between you was growing shorter by the second. Hearing the grass and earth crunch under your feet, Cove turned. A grin spread over his face as he saw you. You took your place standing behind him on the crest of the poppy hill, looking out over the ocean. I have to say, I really like the look of these flowers. Same as you've done on countless times since you first arrived, when you found him on the very same spot.
Luna.
It officially broke the silence, the spell that held you both in place. You looked at him expectantly. There's something I always kind of wondered about. He cocked his head, giving you a sidelong glance. What did you think about me when we met? I was just a kid you'd never seen before, bawling out his eyes out on the hill next to your house. He chuckled, his eyes drifting toward the sea beyond before flicking back toward you. The way his gaze pulled you back to you made it clear that he was genuinely invested in the topic. Lucky for him, you remembered when he initially struck at you in that moment. It was as if it was only happened yesterday. Well, I remember noticing the sad look on your face. Cove replicated that frown for you right now, looking grave at your reply.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess that would have been kind of hard to miss. Smiling, you continued to reminisce about that first meeting. I also remember trying to cheer you up. I remember that too. You ran a hand through his hair, and you knew that his line of questioning wasn't at an end even before you spoke again.
I mean...
Do you remember what you thought about me, as a person? Was I annoying or mean or... the thing is, it's like you seemed interesting, unusual. I was worried about you because you were upset, and I didn't know what to make of you at first. I think I didn't know what to make of you at first. Cove nodding, accepting a response. Cove's hand drifted to the scar on his arms, his fingers unconsciously gliding over the mark. It was much less noticeable than it had been when the neon pink cast had first come off, shrunken gradually over the years as his body healed, then dwarfed in comparison to his growing body. Still, his fingers came back to it without thinking. He gave a half smile, not meeting your eyes. No matter what you were thinking, I doubt it was worse than what I had going on my mind. He raised an eyebrow at his vague words, wondering what it was that he meant. Cove lifted up his head, finally committing to meet your eyes fully once more. I remember that day. I remember it really well. I don't think I'll be able to forget. I can picture the way you looked back then when I first saw you standing right here. I still know the expression in your face when you chose to sit with me in the grass. He chuckled self-diversely, interrupting his own monologue. You scared me at first. I figured I'd be alone out there until I had to face my dad again, and then suddenly another kid appeared out of nowhere. It was startling, but I got over that fast. You were a strange person in a strange place, but in that moment, you were exactly what I needed. Somebody I could talk to freely about what was happening and how it made me feel. And you listened to me. You stayed with me. He sighed, then bit his lip as he gave you a small smile. I was a little bit spoiled growing up. It wasn't bad, you were dealing with a lot. Cove tilted his head to the side, smiling softly at his defense of his smaller self. He looked off again, seeking clarity for his thoughts in the expanse of the night sky. What I'm trying to say is, when I was younger, I viewed myself basically as the center of the universe. I'd even imagine if it wasn't like that.
I mean...
Things didn't simply happen. That would be weird, according to my little kid brain. It made far more sense that everything in my life had a specific connection to me, somehow, right? He saw affirmation to you, wavy eyebrows raised as he tried to explain his childlike logic. So, at the time, you almost felt unreal. Like, you weren't just anyone. Some other kid who happened to live in that neighborhood with your own whole life that wasn't connected to Cove Holden. No, to me. You were there so that you could find me when I was lost. Though, it turns out you were there for that. You were trying to find me because something had told you specifically to do that. I just didn't expect it to be my dad. I guess he knew more about what I needed than I thought. He chuckled, shaking his head as he shook off the thoughts. I kind of expected it all to vanish like a dream when that night was over. I would wake up and everything would be the same again. I'd be back in my bed at home, my real home, with both my parents. The future was something I couldn't picture anymore. I didn't know what school would be like when I went back, or the table where I would eat breakfast the next morning, or anything. And if I couldn't imagine it, how could I think it was something actually happening? I couldn't grasp my new reality. It was too big for me to hold it all at once. So I never thought I'd see you again. Then Cove beamed at you, his eyes smiling bright. And I never, ever would have been able to guess that 10 years later, when I was grown up, the two of us would still be together. Words couldn't encompass all how you felt, but you smiled. Cove returned it fully, showing your delights, but the smile faded from his face as his eyebrows drew together. That was the worst day in my life at the time. The day my family broke apart. It was too heavy for me to even think about. I felt that way for I don't know how long. He held a hand over his heart, connecting with the pain he felt as a child, and looked at you earnestly.
It's okay.
But now, everything's better with me and my dad and my mom and between the two of us. So when I remember the time, it's not the point that my life is over. It's a day that I make... Aww. That's so sweet. Ugh, God, the writers on this did a great job. I'm sure it was one that just said, aw. But I say you're just wonderful. Only for you, really. Cove sighed contentedly. His voice was as delicate as the petals on the poppies which crowned his hill. Hey, Luna, I'm so grateful you always took care of me. You didn't even know what to say back to that. His heartfelt appreciation left you speechless. He tilted his head up, lost in the sparse clouds above. I wonder how late it is. I guess that doesn't really matter. My dad is fine with me being out whenever. You can still text your dad about what you're doing. I'm gonna message my mom's. You might appreciate it.
I guess.
Probably. You're pleased to see Cove slip his phone out of his pocket and type away at it. You also brought your phone out long enough to shoot off a text. They wouldn't see it anytime soon, but they'll be in the loop once they were up. Are you gonna lay in the grass now? Wow, how did you know? You're predictable. With a chuckle, Cove plopped down on the ground and laid his back, his usual way of spending time there. You know, just because I feel like I would do this with my friends, sat on Cove's chest. You took your rightful place squarely on his chest. Cove wiggled a bit in protest, but accepted his fate. And how did I know you were going to do that? You simply smiled down at him. The both of you fully settled in to relax on the hill. It felt like the beginning of one of your nightly outings, but then you realized the sun was peeking out over the horizon. Cove spoke up with a disbelieving tone.
Huh.
It was really late. Also, The background on this is gorgeous. Your neighbor wasn't a stranger to being awake at dawn, however not like this. He was normally an early sleeper, early riser. This unexpected sunrise particularly awed him. The two of you watched silently as the sun began to light up the world. I do like your smile. It's a nice one. Cove then propped himself up on the backs of his arms and looked at you with a soft expression on his face. Do you want to go back home? I could carry you if you're too tired. No, I want to stay here. You couldn't resist a yell. That was actually something. But you were serious. It couldn't be time to go already. Cove chuckled affectionately.
I get it.
Okay, but it's been a long day. We've done a lot of things. Like, really a lot. It has to end sometime. Does it really have to end? Yeah, I don't think there's anything either of us can do about that one. But we can say if we want to. Cove smiled brightly at you, as warm as the new rays of sun that were tickling your skin. At that moment, you couldn't have appreciated him being there more. He leaves the Cove. You bent yourself against Cove for extra support. He tilted his head against yours. Morning, Cove. He gave you a bent smile and went for the opposite sentence.
Good night.
Good night, Luna. The two of you remained together on that familiar poppy hill where you first met until the world began to fade and blur. You were falling asleep. A few more gentle words drifted into your consciousness.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Your eyelids dripped, but you felt good. You were safe and relaxed. And everything that had come before this had reassured you of that. You were confident that when you opened them again, things would be okay. You opened your eyes. Instead of the walls of your rooms, you were surrounded by open sky. It was not soft pillows and sheets beneath you, but the beds of earth and grass that you'd taken last night. The day welcomed you with a stunning smile, a refreshing breeze, and the chirpings and songs of birds. You cupped your face with your hands as you sat up, feeling the imprint of blade grasses leaving your lines into your
Luna!
Luna. Hearing your name, you lowered your hands and looked around. There he was, your most influential neighbor, Cove Holden. Aww. God, that's adorable. He made himself very comfortable, lying on his stomach with jewelry and shoes taking off with the flower in his hands. Good morning. It's not really morning anymore. God. He looks adorable. Cove laughed, tickled with the overall situation, simply being able to spend time like this. Told you I'll see you tomorrow. It's the same exact day, Cove. We were up until dawn. It doesn't make it a new day now just because we went to sleep later than normal. Then we disagree because to me it's not really the next day until I've been to bed and woken up. But fine, I'll just have to make sure I see you again tomorrow. Again. Probably the day after that too. That way there's no arguments. Cove turned his head up to the sky, his expression content. Looks like it's gonna be a nice day. We'll have to come up with something to do to make the most of it. He trailed off, blinking slowly in the sunlight. Someday, when we're even older than we are now, I wonder what we'll end up remembering this moment for. What we'll feel when we look back on it. Will it be the same as what we're feeling right now?
It's nice.
I can't see what the future's gonna look like again, but I think that's alright. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Cove turned back to you, nodding in full agreement. He eyed the hill sprawling out before you, and down below where there's Rod Hill and nature gave way to civilization. Your home and Cove's laid down at the bottom, neatly filed among the other houses in the neighborhood. Cove said nothing, but fixed you with a deliberate and meaningful look. Does he want to roll down the hill? I think he wants to roll down the hill. As much as I'd like to hear, it's okay if we leave now. You can always come back to see the poppies and fireflies again, right? Cove met your eyes, waiting for what you were going to say in response. Yeah, we better do that. You're not getting out of it. Your common quirked a wry smile from Cove, his voice lifted with mirth. You're really irreplaceable, huh? Oh, look, he's lifting up his little leg. Cove beamed at you. Expression was so unlike the one he wore when you first found him there, swallowed up in sadness and uncertainty. Yet you couldn't help but glimpse that boy once more underneath his bright expression and matured features.
Come on.
He offered you a hand. You accepted it, and your palm fitting around his. Cove lifted himself up, pulling you along too. My parents probably aren't gonna come running for us this time. We got to make our own call. and I say that we can't hide away forever. Poppy Hill is just one part of things. There's more to enjoy for us than this time in this place alone. Let's enjoy it. You couldn't say whether you were one that broke into a run, if Cove had been the one to start it, or if your feet had simultaneously made that choice for you both. The end result was the same, with the two of you dashing down the hill like children, but the nostalgic revelry that you can only come as an adult. I had a feeling. As the wind whipped past you, you knew that family and friends were waiting at the end of your sprint. There is more memories to make after all. Life takes another step forward. These are all the people who made me again.
I wake up to the colors in the sky. The day is new, the sun.
I like this music. This music's fun.
Like a gentle breeze, I feel at peace. I feel
All these people did super great work.
and I hear the
I have to make a
birds
clap.
all sing their songs. I wanna sing along, and like the ocean flows, I'll see where I can go. Winter, spring, summer, fall, I've seen them change. I felt them all.
And I like how the last names of the family characters all change to based off what the player chooses, which is pretty interesting. There's all the supporters.
Shines brightly in the sky, in technicolor glowing bright.
There's a lot of supporters.
I feel the sand beneath my feet, and the leaves start falling from the trees.
Oh look, it became night in the background.
Begins to freeze. I'll keep the fire stoked and watch the falling.
I like this person named Vibe Checks. That's pretty funny. Just seeing this. No, look. I'm guessing some of these are like Xpix's Blue Bunny or like usernames and stuff. That mini Cat 8226. Evil. Magnificent. Entertainment Stew. Shine. Smiley face. Frenzy. Lucid Dream. Dr. Horrible. The Playhouse. Mouse. Blue Flame Entertainments. Haley Livermore. I like Livermore's an interesting last name. I'm assuming it's the last name. Night Melody. Zambella. Xtina. Summer Sobek. Exclamation marks and a fin. Moss Kelly. Two people both together. Night The clatter of a suitcase hitting the tile brought you back to reality. You've been zoned out in thought for some amount of time. How long was impossible to guess, but you were in Baxter's room. It was almost exactly 24 hours since the last time you'd been together, during the big goodbye get-together the previous day. The scene in front of you was familiar in a way. You were standing in the corner and watching as he packed, but there was none of the franticness or excitement of a fast-approaching trip to the mountains. In this moment, every motion Baxter made was slow and laborious. This was the end of his time in Sunset Bird. When the job was done, it would be finished. When you first arrived at his place, Baxter and you reminisced over a summer well spent, one over all too soon. The task of putting his things into bags was drawn out enough for all possible conversation to have been spent in a quiet to creep in. That's how you got sucked into your own head, a private reflection on the person in front of you. Baxter Ward had been the harbinger of change in the tiny town, an inescapable sign that the life you'd known for nearly your entire childhood was also coming to an end. But he had become your normal over the summer, and now he was going to change it all again by going away. A part of you wanted to jump out of reality again. In your mind, Baxter was ever present. But in this room, Baxter had just finished the last task before you left for good. You stared at the neatly gathered bags around Baxter's fancy black shoes. When did that happen? Your gaze drifted to his face, unsure. Baxter was watching you too, and smiling sweetly.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting me once more, Luna. I am fully settled now, and it is getting late. I believe the time has come for you to return home. More accurately, but harder for Baxter to admit, it was time for him to return home. But he had simply tapped a suitcase with his foot and kicked a real farewell down the road. Would you mind if I saw you out? You moved to join Baxter at the front of the room. Obviously, I wouldn't mind.
Very well.
Very good. The bags were left as they were for a time being, as Baxter escorted you to the front door onto the streets. You both stood there in the very place you were first reunited. Baxter put most of his agreeable smile to the work. It was there, though caught in what should have been a dance. I suppose this is the most fitting place to say goodbye. It is unlikely we'll see each other again before I'm gone. That was it. No getting around things. This was goodbye. Hesitantly, he held up his arms for a farewell embrace. You pulled him into a tight squeeze. You let out a more puff while you nearly cracked his back with your powerful compression. His arms crossed over each other behind you, and both of his hands came to rest on your shoulders. Baxter had tied himself to you with a bow. You enjoyed every second of it. Then, when you finally untangled yourself, you had just enough distance between you so you could see each other's faces. Baxter spoke again with a tenderness to his tone. It was so wonderful meeting you. This has been the best summer, best particular season I had in years. I'll never forget a minute of it.
Goodbye.
And I sincerely hope you'll find someone who'll make you happy and fulfilled. You're only suited for the best. Goodbye, Luna. Thanks. I hope you find happiness too. We don't have to date long distance. I just want to keep in touch. The way Baxter flinched at those words was disconcerting. He didn't understand what was happening anymore. We'll talk to each other after this, right? I'm leaving. That was the explanation. 2 words. You say the obvious almost complacently, a gentle reminder that somehow would make everything clear. Since you didn't convincingly look like you'd reach a complete understanding of the universe, he continued, disappointed. Luna, I'll be on the other side of the country. I won't be here to give you rides or make cupcakes together or take you out for drinks. We can't sightsee or go on trips. It should go without saying. So, we can still talk, and that's what matters. We can text and have calls and a bunch of things. Baxter's folded his arms in. Caution was quickly giving way to exasperation. I see you don't understand me. Unfortunately, I'm having trouble following myself. Why would we? We've known each other's existence for approximately 3 months, and your only familiarity with me is what I've chosen to share, which is not much.
I swear.
You aren't a bad person if you don't immensely out. If you don't go immensely out of your way to continue keeping tabs on a near stranger, you'll be fine to leave me. I'm not just keeping tabs. It's a normal way to interact with someone you know. Miranda has an older brother, Jude. He's making long-distance situation work. The two of them haven't lived near each other for multiple months ever, even though they've known each other for years.
Oh?
Oh, it is truly delightful to hear that, and I wish the best for Miranda's brother and his partner. Of course, my rather reasonable prediction is that it will not last. Most relationships don't. I have to agree with him with that. Generally speaking, from what I hear, long-distance relationships tend to not work. I mean, some do. There's definitely a good portion that does. But, generally speaking, there's something that just comes up because one person just finds someone else that's actually close to them, or, it's just one of those things. As for me, in terms of us, unfortunately I've run right out of things, out of anything to say. He shot you down entirely, not giving a single centimeter towards compromise. It left you stunned. What happened? Baxter could be so hard on himself and another to others. Since when he'd become someone so cynical? You still don't want to give up. I don't want you to just disappear. I care about you. Baxter racked his fingers through his hair. The tidy white and black strips were almost done. I would prefer it to have been an enjoyable time having my company while I happened to be here. That was the intention. It seems I've ruined that on the whole. I accept the blame for that. If I had behaved better, this wouldn't have come to a close on such an abhorrent note. However, I am not an irreplaceable part of your life. I was a tourist, a novelty, and now I'm not even that, so don't bother with this. Every word was poisonously mocking. No more effect could be spared to put politely. You heard his opinion on himself laid bare. It was terrible. Baxter. He also has a softer cheekbone than this, and the thing, and softer eyes, which is really interesting. He turned his back to you, beginning to process of separation promptly. Baxter only spoke over his shoulder. I'm genuinely sorry, Luna. If I could take back these days, I would.
I will never cause this kind of trouble for you again.
His accent also changed a bit. At the very least, I can promise I'll never cause this kind of trouble for you again. To be serious, this is the end of the line of his association with you. He looked into Baxter's obscure face for the last time, and he would want us to smile. He smiled at him. I'll miss you. Baxter didn't say anything else. He didn't react. He only stepped forward and closed the door to his rented condo. He was gone. With that, you turned to your actual friends. They're always there for you, no matter what. There is something a person like him might never understand, but ever a man of his word, you didn't see Baxter Ward again. Here you can choose what epilogue to play. Note you can only play one, and the game will end. Enjoy. Well, I am going to save this here and return to the main menu. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys next time. And the next, I don't know how many episodes, maybe 3, maybe more, I will be playing through each of the different endings of the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path wherever they might lead you into the future. Bye-bye, and hope to see you guys again soon.